So a couple of tips for when we're cutting. We want to make absolutely sure that our blades are facing away from our bodies. So you want to have them sort of pointing away from you. And when we cut, one way that really helps, I'm just going to come in from the side, and I'm going to be holding my paper still when I cut, but then I'm going to keep turning it with my left hand. So I'm sort of keeping the scissors kind of in the same place and turning the paper. And I'm just going to keep on holding my hand, my right hand that holds the scissors still. And I can just see that little line that I made for the circle when I traced it with the pencil. You could have traced it with your crayon, any of that would have been fine. And then I'll be done with my circle. So that keeps my body safe by keeping the scissors away from me. Now when I get ready to do the other circle, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of the paper some more so that it doesn't have this big old chunk of paper on each side. So I'm just going to go ahead and just cut around so I can get closer. A lot of times people have a hard time cutting on the inside because they want to cut the inside of objects that have a lot of points or inside curves the same way that they would cut a circle. So this might help you out. You still want to stay safe and keep your blades away from your body. But what you want to do is kind of get closer to what you have to cut out if you can. And I'm going to come in here and do a straight cut right to where my star point needs to end. So right there. And then I'm going to stop and let go. And I'm going to turn the paper, but this time I'm going to turn it so that I'm coming in from my next point. That way I don't have to make some kind of a bumpy curve in here or something, or accidentally maybe rip my paper. I can just watch where my blades go and stop when I need to stop. That one's a little bit short, so I'm going to go a little bit further. And this doesn't quite want to come loose, but that's okay. I'll just pop it on out. So that way I can get in there and make a nice point for my star without having to worry about did I cut it off or did I have to go around in a curve because I can't make that point. I'm going to come into through here, and I'm just going to stop where the lines all cross each other, and then I'm going to do the same thing for this side of that part I need to cut out. So I'm coming in there pretty close, and I'm just going to stop. And that one popped right out. So now I can see that point. So I'll do the same thing. So we don't always like to do that. A lot of times we want to be able to just cut it all in one big swipe and go on in here. But you can see I might actually cut something I don't want to cut if I do it that way. So coming from the outside in might be a help when you're cutting out your star. Get rid of these scrap pieces. Now I'm not exactly perfectly cutting on the line that I drew either, because my lines aren't straight, but my scissors do a better job of doing a straight line. So my star might actually be a little bit smaller than the way that I drew it, but a little bit smaller is fine because we know it's going to fit on the circle. So that's good for our project. We're not trying to be perfect anyway. We're just trying to show a nice 5-pointed star like it would have in the American flag. So I don't need to erase. If I did this in pencil or crayon or anything, I can just flip it over and have a nice white star. We want to put a pretty good amount of glue on the star because it's the same thing. A lot of times the paper doesn't want to stick together, but a lot of times glue doesn't stick that well to something that has crayon on it. So I'm going to use my scrap paper from my other one where I cut out the star, and I'm going to put a good amount of glue on the side that I drew because I'm going to flip that over and put that on the star. So I'm going to put a good amount on each point, and I'm just going to keep on rotating and getting some more on those points. I see that's got some pretty good glue on it, so I'm going to go over here, and that way I can run off the side of my paper. I don't have to worry about smashing my glue down. and I've got a good amount on there. And I'm going to figure out where I want to put my star, and I'll go ahead and put it down on my circle, and then I want to go over every single part of it with my finger. Make sure I have nice clean hands, and then just going on across it, because if I don't, it's not going to stick as well. Sometimes they come off anyway, but let's try to make sure that it sticks. And we need to leave this alone for a little bit. So we're going to go back to our red and white stripes on our folded paper to finish the rosette. So we want to put this to the side, close up our scissors, make sure our glue stick is closed until we need it again here in a minute, and put this to the side so that it can dry. And I'll clean up my scraps and put them to the side.